Something big must be going on around here. Well, we got the bucket, we got the legends, we got our coaches, we got about 500 IU fans here, so it's a good day to be a Hoosier, and I'd be happy to take any and all questions that you might have for me, if you have any.
How are football ticket sales going for you guys this year?
They're really solid. You know, we picked up a few years ago and got to a plateau of like the high 40,000 range, and we're optimistic that we're hanging in there. And if we have some early season good fortune, then hopefully we can get to 52,929 last few weeks.
Is there anything new? I know every year you guys seem to do a little different in the stadium. Is there anything new that you can talk about this year?
I'm glad you asked that. Next week, I think Tuesday, we're going to have an event in Bloomington where we're going to roll out a lot of the new game day experience stuff that I think will be really cool. We've been working on it this summer, and I think there'll be some new fun things to keep people's enthusiasm for what's going on in the stadium.
Scheduling in college football is always difficult. Do you think Indiana will be able to get to that point where you can have a minimum of 7 home games every year, like Coach Wilson has sought after? And also, will Big Ten schools keep playing FCS teams? Because it looks like that will still keep happening.
You know, I look at how tough our football schedule is, and I wonder who the hell the athletic director is around here anyway. You know, scheduling that. Although in my defense, some of these games get set before the teams are who they are now. We are setting as a prime directive to get to 7 games. As you know, we did a buyout to get that set up next year, made some investments in the schedule. I would anticipate us to continue making investments in the schedule so that we can hit that sweet spot of 7 home games. I think Kevin deserves that, the kids deserve that, and we're working to get at that. The Big Ten scheduling philosophy continues to be a work in progress, and so we're being a little reactive to what the conference is thinking about doing right now. As you know, they're saying no FCS games. It's possible that could evolve, but right now in our scheduling, we're swearing off the FCS games. We try to have quality teams with the MAC level teams, if you will, the mid conference, and then one home and away or BCS or Tier 5. Choose your euphemism for a like university, and that's what we've been scheduling, the Virginias and the Wake Forest and so forth. So it's sort of stay tuned depending upon what the Big Ten decides to do, but my expectation would be that we certainly have 7 home games and try to schedule appropriately in the non-conference for a team that's on the rise.
The Big Ten has also kind of made it hard for all the ADs going forward with a 9-game conference schedule. Those years you play 4 home games in the league, I mean, that seems like that makes it extra difficult.
It really does, because when you're doing 5 and 4, then it makes it hard to get like a home and away for a peer university, if you will, and then you're tucking in and buying games. And with FCS off the table, just the basic laws of supply and demand. I took microeconomics at IU, so I get that. And there's fewer schools with the FCS out, so the price goes up. But I think as that's become more apparent, the athletic directors and Commissioner Delaney are looking at that more, and I think there could be some evolution on the directives that are coming out of the Big Ten on scheduling.
Could there be a directive with 10 Big Ten games, or is 10 too many?
You know, I think there's pros and cons about 10, and so I don't think that would be off the table, and there would be some challenges with that, but some real benefits to that too. It'd be even every year. You get more of a feel and flavor for playing all the teams in the conference, and so I don't think that's out of the question, but I don't think it's necessarily going to happen either.
The Big Ten isn't really making schools not play FCS schools. That's just kind of a recommendation right now.
Well, you know, I think if all the ADs agree to that guideline, then you know, whether you call that making or whatever, what was it in Ghostbusters? Is it a guideline or a rule or more of a guideline? I think it's something that we would follow, and I would expect our brethren in the conference to follow as well.
Fred, with all the changes being made in college sports, including the abandoned suit and everything, one, how do schools like IU, as much money as you're getting from the Big Ten, how do you pay for it? And do you envision that if things go the way that you'd have to cut sports?
I would not want to cut sports. I think the last resort would be to limit the opportunities that we give to student athletes as a result of the undoubtedly increased expenses coming out of reform, whether that's driven by change of governance, litigation rulings like an O'Bannon, or whatever source. I think it's just a matter of us prioritizing providing the student athletes with those kinds of benefits, whether that's full cost of attendance. We're already doing, as you know, the lifetime guarantee. I think IU's leading on that. We're already doing the multi-year scholarship, and the guy who's leading on that, and that just crowds some other things out. And I do think that we're fortunate to have a strong revenue stream with the Big Ten Network and our other media partners. I think that'll help, but I think it'll undoubtedly reshuffle the deck, and maybe you'll have to give somewhere else. But the last place I would look would be limiting opportunities for student athletes from cutting sports.
I see where you were able to use your incredible pull to get the College Avenue exit open on 37. Now, with the parking lots, are they all going to be ready for the Indiana State game now too?
I have no stroke with NDOT. I appreciate the setup on there, but I'm not going to take it because the next time it's shut down, then you'll blame me. So I'm not going to go there. But yeah, the parking lots will be all open. The purple lot there on the northwest side of the athletics campus will be just it's a show place, if you will. It's beautiful. We're actually gaining parking spaces, even though they're creating more green space in there. In October, they're going to plant about 350 trees in there, so eventually there'll be a really nice canopy. There's a major draining area in there that looks a lot like a grass field. In the short run, we won't park people on there, but after next year, we'll be able to put people in there in RVs and so forth. So I think that new northwest lot will be a really nice plus. It will be open and operating for our first game against Indiana State.
Brad, has there been any talk among athletic directors about how much should be included in the full cost of attendance?
Well, the question was about how much would be included in the full cost of attendance, and the answer is that those are institutionally driven. So there won't be able to be, and there won't be in my view, a declaration that it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Already now, every institution, based upon their own formulas and experiences, declares what that number is. And I believe that on a go-forward basis, if cost of attendance is allowed, it'll be those institutionally driven numbers that'll come into play. And frankly, that's been one of the concerns about that creates an uneven playing field or opens up the opportunity for monkey business at various institutions. But I think that the concept of the cost of attendance is so important, we're just going to have to manage that piece of it.
Fred, how would you characterize the university's split with Kurt Miller? Was it amicable?
I'm not really here to talk about that. If you want to talk about that at another time, that'd be great.
So year 4 for Coach Wilson, steady improvement every year. What are your thoughts on where the program's come in the 3+ years that he's been in Indiana?
Yeah, I think both subjectively and objectively we're going in a great direction. There's a really good feel around the program. The guys feel bigger, stronger, faster, more engaged, if you will. And so I can't maybe put an objective description on that, but there's just a better feel around the program. I sense it from Kevin too. I think among other things, he's had multiple years to grow into the role as the head coach. I think that's very evident. He's getting more of his own guys he recruited, very comfortable with the team, so that's positive. But also based on objective indicia, we're going the right way, right? So our overall record, we've overall won more games each year. We've overall won more conference games each year. We've overall sent more guys to the NFL each year. We've overall increased our ranking and recruiting every year. So I think by almost every measurement, we're going in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to a great year if that schedule I put together doesn't get in the way.